Good morning, dear students. This is Arogya Swami A. Kardi, the newly joined Commerce lecturer to St. Joseph's College, Dharwad. Foremost, I would like to thank the management of St. Joseph's College, the principal of St. Joseph's College, and the faculty members of St. Joseph's College for warmly welcoming me to the group and the institution. To give small introduction of myself, I have completed my MCom, MBA, MPhil. I have cleared my KSET examination and UGC NET examination, and I am pursuing my PhD in management from VTU. I have been assigned with a subject called as Indian Financial System for the fourth semester students of St. Joseph's College. This particular subject is included in the syllabus of the fourth semester BCom for Karnataka University students to familiarize them with the fundamental concepts and working of Indian financial system. It simply means that once you complete the study of this Indian financial system subject, you will be well versed with the fundamental concepts that are included in Indian financial system. How do the Indian financial system actually works and operates? And it will also give you an introduction about the different parts of Indian financial system. Those parts are named as constituents of Indian financial system by Karnataka University. This particular syllabus includes 5 different chapters, and every chapter is entrusted with 10 to 12 classes per unit on an average. The chapters are, in the first chapter we have Introduction to Indian Financial System. The second chapter is Financial Markets. The third chapter is Financial Markets and how does it operate. The fourth chapter includes the financial intermediaries, and the fifth chapter includes the financial regulations. In the first chapter, when you complete this particular chapter, you will be able to understand what is the meaning of Indian financial system, what are the parts or the components of Indian financial system. It simply means what makes Indian financial system and what are the inclusions of Indian financial system. This chapter speaks about the different functions of the Indian financial system. It also speaks about the key elements that are included in the financial system or financial working of the country. You also study in this chapter how does the financial system of any country is supporting or giving advantages for the economic development of that particular country. And it simply means how does the Indian financial system is related with the Indian economic growth. It studies about the reciprocal support that is Indian financial system and the Indian economy giving to each other. We study in this chapter also the different reforms of a financial system and what are the different types of financial reforms that have been brought. And by reforms, I mean what are the changes or what are the new additions that are done to financial system. So when you study about the reforms of the financial system, you will be able to understand why these reforms have been brought in the financial system and what are the different reforms that are included in the financial system of the country. Coming to the second chapter, we have got the financial markets. It means that the market where the finance is lent and received. The financial markets is having two different activities, or we can also call it as there are two types of markets when it comes to the types of financial markets. In the first part, or maybe the first type can be called as money market, and the second type is called as capital market. To familiarize you what is the meaning of money market and capital market, money market is a market where the finance is lent for the institutions in short term, or the money that is lent in the money market is usually lesser in size compared to the capital market. Capital market is meant for the lending and receipt of the large amount of money which is lent for long term. When you study about the money market, you will be able to understand what is the meaning of money market and how this money market plays its role for the development of the country or maybe the development of the person, one who receives the amount. And we also study what are the different types of documents or instruments or equipments that are used in money market. We also study about the people who are playing their roles in the money market. It simply means who are involved and indulging in the financial activities in money market. We also study in money market the link between the money market and monetary policy of India. Monetary policy of India is something that is being implemented in the field of finance to bring the changes in the economy of the country, and we study how this money market is playing its role in the monetary policy of the country. Coming to the second part, we study about the capital market. As I told you, capital market is the market where the long term and bigger size of money is lent and received. We study in this part of the second chapter the meaning of capital market, the objectives and the aims and goals of this capital market, and what is the importance of this capital market in the development of the economy of the country. When I speak about the development of the economy of the country, we simply mean that what are the players who are playing the important roles in the economy of the country, and how does this capital market plays its role for the development of these players. We study at the end of the chapter, we study what are the different reforms that are brought in the capital market in India, what are the changes and the new procedures that were included in the capital market of India. And when we complete the study of this capital market reforms in India, we'll also be able to find out what were the new instruments or the new methods or the new documents which are financial in nature are included in money market. Coming to the third chapter, we study about the different types of financial markets. I already spoke to you in the second chapter that there is a market called as money market. There is also a market called as capital market. Along with these two different types, we have got other markets called as primary market and secondary market. Sir, what are these primary market and secondary market? Primary market is a market where once again the financial instruments are dealt with. These includes IPOs and further offers. Now you may ask me a question, sir, what are these IPOs and other offers? So when I deal with the third chapter in detail, I will be speaking to you about what is IPO, what is the expansion of IPO, and how does this IPO operates. In the primary market, we'll be studying about what are the different types of markets which are available in primary market and what are the different types of activities that are done by primary market. We also study about the nature, we also study about the importance, we also study about the advantages, we also study about the roles that are played by the primary market for the development of any of the financial institution or maybe corporates in nature. And we also study in the primary market the methods of making public issue. What does it mean, sir? Simply, the public issue is nothing but any company which is public in nature or any company which is indulging itself in raising the capital by the issue of shares is called as a company which is making the public issue. In public issue, we also study about fixed price and we also study about book building. When it comes to the fixed price and book building, we study about what is the meaning of a fixed price. We study about what is a book building, how the process of fixed price and book building happens, and how the price determination is done in the fixed price or in the book building. So we also study about red herring prospectus and we study about the green shoe option. Coming to the second part of this third chapter, we study about the secondary market. Secondary market in this third chapter is dealt by understanding its meaning, its functions, and the developments that have recently happened in the secondary market, especially in India. We study about the stock exchange, what is the meaning of stock exchange, how the stock exchange functions, what are the different developments that have recently happened in the stock exchange. We also study about the regulation and demutualization of the stock exchange. We study about BSE, we study about NSE, and we also study about OTCEI. I will speak about BSc and NSC in detail. We'll also explain about how do this BSE and NSC operates. To give you a small introduction about OTCEI, it is nothing but on the counter exchange of India. We study about how did this originate, how did this initialize, and we also study about how did this BSc, NSC, and OTCEI took the growth in the country. By studying about the BSc, NSC, and OTCEI, we end up the third chapter. In the fourth chapter, we study about financial intermediaries. The name of the chapter is also called as financial intermediaries. The word intermediaries means the people who are working as a bridge or the middleman between the people who are lending the money, who are receiving the money. We can call them as agents who deal with the receipt and lending of finance by the institutions and the receiver. When we complete the fourth chapter called as the financial intermediaries, we'll be able to understand what is the role of intermediaries in the financial aspects of Indian financial system. We also study about what are the different classifications or the types of financial intermediaries. We study about how did this financial intermediaries develop in the country. We study about the financial institutions such as IFCI, such as SIDBI. We study about IDFC. When we study about this IFCI, SIDBI, or IDFC, we study about their origin, their growth, their functions, and what are the advantages of these different financial institutions in the growth of corporate or maybe the economic growth of the country as a whole. We study about the banking system, we study about NBFCs, and we also study about the functions and the structure of banking institutions in the country. When we study about NBFC, we study about its meaning and when did it start, how does this particular NBFC operates and functions. We also study how did this NBFC grew as one of the very important financial institution in the country. We study about the smaller financial players such as cooperative banks in India and what are the different types of financial intermediaries that are operating in the country. We study the intermediaries such as merchant bankers, underwriters, and custodians. We study about the registrars who are working as financial intermediaries. We speak about share transfer agents, and we'll also studying about depository services that are available in the financial system of the country. We don't only study a small introduction of the underwriters, custodians, registrars, share transfer agents, depository services, but we'll also study about their functions, their meaning, how do they operate, and what is the mode of operantis. We also study about how these financial intermediaries in the country are helping for the lending of the finance and receipt of the finance for the financial activities of different companies or firms or organizations. This chapter includes this subject includes another chapter called as financial regulations. With the financial regulation chapter, this particular syllabus gets ended. In the financial regulations, we'll study what are the different types of regulations that are implemented in the financial system of the country. We study what is the meaning of financial regulations. Any country that is allowing the different financial institutions to operate in itself has to have certain rules, regulations, has to have certain procedures and provisions to be followed by these institutions. Altogether are called as regulations. So we study about the financial regulations by studying about the meaning of financial regulations, what is the aim, what are the goals, and what are the objectives of these financial regulations. What is the importance and emphasis of these financial regulations and how this significance is going to help the growth of the institutions which are making use of finance in the country. There is a very important and very much revered and respected committee called as Raghuram Rajan Committee that gave a lot of informations and that gave a lot of rules and regulations, and it gave a framework for the financial institutions to operate in the country. We'll be studying about this Raghuram Rajan Committee recommendations that are done for the development of the Indian financial system. We study about SEBI, that is Stock Exchange Bureau of India, and what are the objectives of SEBI, how the SEBI is operating and functioning in the country, and what SEBI has powers towards the regulation of the financial activities in the country. So when you look at the whole first chapter, second chapter, third chapter, fourth chapter, and fifth chapter of Indian financial system, we come to know that a person or a student, one who completes the study of this Indian financial system, will be able to understand what is financial system, what are the different types of markets in the financial system, what are the different markets available, such as what you call the secondary market, primary market, and we also study about the different people who are working as intermediaries in the financial market. We study about the different regulations that are implemented by CB or the regulations that are recommended by Raghurajan Committee to make the Indian financial system work properly. By studying about the Indian financial system subject, a student, one who has completed BCom, will be able to understand the operations of the Indian financial system, how the Indian financial system supports for the overall development of the economy of the country. To read more about this particular chapter, you can refer to the books which are written by M.Y. Khan. You can also read books that are written by Bharati V. Pathak, and we can also read a book written by Mr. Guruswami. These are the books which are called as reference books. These books give you a larger amount of knowledge, and they will also not give you the marks that is very, very important for BCom student, but they will also give you a vast amount of knowledge about the financial system. If you find any difficulty in finding these type of reference books, or if you find these reference books are very much difficult to be understood, or if you think the content that is included in these reference books are too much for the syllabus that is prescribed for you, you can also use the books which are specifically meant for these particular syllabus, which is very much available in the market, and you can also take a book from your library. In my next class, I will be talking about the first chapter, Introduction of Indian Financial System. Today, I have only given you the introduction to the syllabus, how the syllabus is drafted, how this syllabus is going to help you. In my next class, I will be dealing with the first chapter. A very important instruction is that if you want to understand the quality of the lecturing or the quality of the video or audio, please try to use earphones. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Thank you.